Recently, I've been on a bit of a break from YouTube, a much needed break. If you are a regular subscriber, person that shows up here to see my videos, you may have noticed, or maybe you saw my post about taking a break. And so a full month has gone by since I posted last, and it was refreshing. I needed to take a break simply because I was feeling a bit overwhelmed and stressed, and YouTube has also not been sharing my content. So all those things led me to decide to just step back and just refreshen myself. And I felt that way just not with my content here on YouTube, but even in my life in general. I've become stale, maybe is the word, stale, and I've become where I felt like I needed to change things up. I don't know if you felt like that before, but I have even decided to almost take a good bit of coffee out of my life. But while I've been away, one thing I've done is I utilize my time to focus on some drawings. And I just wanted to spend some time representing one of my favorite artists, which is Andrew Wyeth. And so I pulled out a bunch of old books that I have. These are some of my favorite books. This one is, at least. This is a really great one if you're looking for a good book about Andrew Wyeth. And what I love about it is it's even got pictures of inside his studio. And I got to see this a few years ago when I went to the Brandywine Museum and got to visit his studio, and also his father's studio, N.C. Wyeth. And so I bought this book while I was there because I thought it was really lovely, and it's a great size. It's got a lot of really lovely work in it. And so I started pulling all these out, including this older book, also by John Merriman, which is the author, Richard Merriman, who also wrote this book. So, but this book is way old and out of print, and not every picture is the best quality, but there's a lot, and it's an interview with Andrew Wyeth. And so I was just going through all these, and I'm not really here to share just the books themselves, but I just want to show you what I was using. See, like I even marked this particular page because I wanted to work on this pan. I started working on it, and so I was just really going through these books. This is another one that I really love. I've had quite a while, Memory and Magic. It's a big hardback book, and I just picked out things that I really wanted to do, and I'm still not done. And I just started really focusing on drawing, nothing else, not trying to duplicate anything else. And then I got a couple of new books. This is the newest book that I bought, Andrew Wyeth at Kerner Farm, which is a new publication. And you might want to get that if you're interested in this particular artist, because it's really quite lovely. It's a little different in its layout, but I think it's nice. But let me share with you what I did. So what I've been doing is I've been drawing in this book here. This is a moleskin book. This is the cover for it, and it's a 5 by 8 and a quarter book, and it's really nice for drawing, this particular book. This is the Sketchbook Art Collection by Moleskine. See, it looks like Moleskine. If you're not familiar with this brand, if you've never tried it, even if you get a smaller brand, it's a nice. It feels nice, especially to draw on. I also like them because it has little pockets where you can hide things. So there's the little can that I sketched on another piece of paper. So I'm trying to actually duplicate that here. And I actually even, I've done some testing of some of my pencils. These are my Faber-Castell Pit, if this thing will focus. These are my Faber-Castell Pitt Graphic Matte pencils, which are really nice pencils. So I went ahead and I did a sample for myself so I could see what the variations of the lightness and the darkness of the values of those pencils. But I started in the very back. Don't ask me why. I think because I was doodling on the couple of pages in the front and I wanted to start fresh. So I started in the back when I started working on these drawings. And you may have seen this before. I had done these previously. Couple little drawings from his sketches, and sometimes I'll even interpret a watercolor. This was a watercolor, but what I loved about it was so gray. The inside of one of these houses that he loves to paint or draw, or love to paint and draw, and this beautiful blue door. But I just did it in pencil, and then I used a little bit of Prismacolor to get that blue door, which I really enjoyed. Sometimes I'll even do these on my lunch hour. This one's not quite so great because it was a watercolor and I just couldn't get the variation that I wanted on that particular tree. But it was a nice exercise. It might look better on camera, I'm not sure, but I couldn't get everything to blend as much as this. Almost looks like watercolor ink, kind of dark depth, and anyways, I lost interest in this, but I did this other tree as well, which I thought was really nice. This is a study. It was a drawing of a study that he did, which eventually became a larger watercolor, and he did several studies, as he often does, and then a final tempera with a deer on the backside of the tree trying to grab an apple on the bottom. I just was copying the tree itself. Let me zoom you in just a little bit here so you can see what this looks like. So that's what those two pages, here I'll go back this one page here so you can see. I think that bag, it's like a flour sack or something. I thought that turned out fairly well. I like this old pan hanging on the wall. And that's the tree. And then this is the Kerner home, which is on the cover of this book here. This whole book is about some of the paintings he did and drawings that he did at the Kerner farm, which is very near his studio. And so this is an image that he did of the Kerner farm from the back side. The front porch is out here, and this is up on a hill back here, looking down on top of the house. And this is a tree, one of the pine trees that lined the driveway of the Kerner farm. Of course, these are my interpretations of his drawings. And I'll try to take the time to go back and grab in some of those pictures so I can show you those pages, some of the pages that I did. And this is an old helmet of Carl Kerner, who owned the Kerner farm. This is a pair of boots that I'm working on, and maybe I'll do some work on those with you, because I was really thinking about, I recently did a whole introduction to bark studies over on Patreon on how to draw accurately. And so in a situation like this, I needed to use some of those skills to get some of these measurements as close as I could get to the original drawing. So that was that's why I haven't really completed it yet. And then I did a couple of pails. This one is inside the Kerner barn, and it's a very famous place. One of his more famous paintings and tempera studies and watercolors are of that spot. And this pail is this pail, and I'm just trying to reproduce it. I just haven't finished it yet. So it kind of looks nice though on this colored paper, I feel. So anyways, the day that the day that I was actually working on this, I was drawing this pail. I had forgotten my book, and so I was at work, and so I decided, let me use a scrap piece of paper that I used on my lunch hour, and I did this pail. I'm not sure if it's perfect, but you know, it was good enough for lunchtime play. But I like the way this pail turned out. I'm pretty happy with the results of that. And this was the inside of a window in not the Kerner home, but a different home, the Olson house in Maine. He did a lot of paintings and drawings from the Olson house, and that is an open window with curtains. It was a watercolor though, I think, and so I just played with it in pencil. And then here's another study of the Kerner house from another angle. I got lucky enough to go here and that last same trip that I went to the Brandywine Museum. I think that was 2019 that I went there. And this is the side of the house. And this is a tree that he painted, or he drew. It was a watercolor much later in life. So this might be 95, I can't remember the date, but this is an old tree just down the road from the Kerner farm. And there in the distance you can see the Kerner farm. A little small little note. And there's a little arrow sign over here. It's just a clipped version of this tree that I was doing, but I've loved this tree for quite a while, and I'm like, I'd like to try to interpret that. And this one's not completely done. This is again the Kerner farm. It's just a tree study. This is old dead looking tree in the winter time. I'm sure it's not dead, but it's not completed yet. And then I think this is the last thing I've done thus far, is again the Kerner house, just doing a study of it. I think this is from the back of the house. Yeah, because this is like the shed, I think. Let's see, where am I? Oh, this is the front porch out here, side of the house, and then there's like a shed here for some reason. And yeah, so that's what I've been working on for this past month, this past few weeks. Just doing these kinds of studies, working on improving my drawing skills. This book that I got is also a great book if you're looking for Andrew Wyeth books. It's just on his drawings. I also got this when I was at the Brandywine Museum back in 2019, and it's just a lovely softbound book of just drawings of Andrew Wyeth's. Just doing a very, there's that that hat. This is my copy of the watercolor study that was done, and this is his drawing, his basic drawing of that same subject. But I really like this book because I really liked seeing the bones of a draftsman's work. It's really the foundation of everything that you will ever do, and that's why drawing's so important. You're never going to, if you don't improve your drawing skills, you're never going to go further. So, and I feel like drawing skills are something you need to work on all the time, and so that's why I constantly draw. And even going back to your favorite artist, like I am with Andrew Wyeth, and drawing his images. I am also a draftsman, similar to Andrew Wyeth, so I like drawing, and that's why I think this was a really good opportunity for me to focus on that. And this is the outline. This is the beginning, the envelope of the drawing that I'm working on, or it's almost like it's really the outline basically. But I did this using perspective and measurement processes that I was sharing like I was mentioning before, on my Patreon site using site size method of drawing, like you would an old master would draw, because otherwise the only other way that you can do something like this is to actually get tracing paper out and trace it. It is site size, so it's accurate measurements of this drawing, and but what's the point of doing a tracing if you're actually trying to learn how to improve your drawing skills?